Hello adventurers, and welcome to my very first tips and guide video for beginner players or new players just in general for weathering waves. If you haven't already gone through some of these, I've experienced just a few that I think would be helpful for anyone starting weathering waves. And if you haven't begun these, then add them to your routine because it's going to help you for starting weathering waves and getting a little bit more progress done early in the game as opposed to waiting to when you could have getting progress, not to min-max everything, but to make the most of what you can do while not adding too much to your routine. So the first one is actually going to be right here with Maki with the Pioneer Association. And if you go to our exploration progress and you check in it, it's going to have a few items here that you can get from, of course, going through your exploration. If you clear these and get through to higher levels, you can actually get a item from your level 1, which is the Lootmapper. The Lootmapper basically will change everything about how you find items within the game. The process for it is very simple. You will take the Lootmapper, use it. Of course, I have more than 3 placed, and it'll place down a circle around you where you can discover new items, whether it's chests or hidden items that you may not be able to see immediately. For example, I believe there's like a chest right here, but it'll appear on your map and it doesn't move, doesn't go away until you replace it with a 4th one, and then the oldest one will go away. So that is your first item that you can use. After doing some basic exploration, you should be able to get level 1 and use that with it throughout the world. So I recommend early in the game getting this done. That way, whenever you're doing exploration or side quests, you can easily check to see if there's any chests that you may have missed. The second one, you're going to go into your data bank. And for those of you who don't know, your data bank gathers levels based on a few things, but the main important thing is that there are a few different things that change whenever you increase your levels. The most important of them being the highest drop rarity. And what does that mean? Is that whenever you kill any sort of enemy or beast, it's going to log it in this gallery here. And each time you collect their echoes, it's going to increase that. Now, of course, as you're killing different things throughout the world, you will get progress no matter what. But if you're not progressing through the story, there will be points where you get cut off. And so if you go further and further, the one I just crossed, I believe it was at level 7, required me to have a higher soul phase. So I had to be rank 3 in order to reach it. The good news about it is that it won't go wasted. It'll just go a little bit higher and higher, and you won't be able to access those rewards. But as you can see, there's a very big difference between 7 and 8. Previously, the highest drop rarity I would get was level 3, and now the highest drop rarity I'll get is level 4. What you really want to do is you want to echo farm as much as possible throughout the game to get at least to level 15. So how do you do this? You go into your gallery, select what you're trying to echo farm. I highly recommend anything you have low levels, because as you see, as the stars go up, you start to get more and more points. So some of these, if I go up to level 3, that doesn't change. But for other ones, as I go higher, you can see it goes level 4, 15, level 5 is 20. So you really want to max these out as much as possible. And when you hit track, all it's going to do is basically you go like, what do you want to track? What do you want to do? If you go to a common class, you can have elite class as well. It's going to find the nearest one to you. So I'm currently in the city, and I would have to go here in order to get to one of these. Now, it does go based off of where you're located. So if you're sort of towards the edge of the map that you haven't explored yet, it's going to keep going in that direction. So you may have to recenter yourself if you've gone out too far or if you explored too far. Also really important is just get your fast travel locations built up. I always try to run by them if they're on my way. I try to fast travel only if I need to, just so I can get as many things as possible. I don't know if this is good or not. I'm not claiming it to be good. I'm union level 20, and I'm really only in like the 3rd chapter. I just across the big point with Scar. You know, there was a big fight. So for those of you who know about it, I don't want to spoil anything, but really important to build that up, because as you build that up and get that to higher levels, you will be able to access higher levels of echoes, and that's going to be really important for your resonators, because if you go into the echoes and what you can select here, it's going to you're really only going to want to upgrade the echoes who are, I would say, at least level 4, but most likely 5-star echoes, because each time you tune these, it's additional resources that you have to spend, and you don't want to spend all these resources at once. You're most likely going to want to add those individually and then put those in until you can unlock a setting, just in case it's a stat you don't want. You can move on to the next one, or maybe give it another shot. Typically, from what I've seen and other streamers and content creators, once you start to get like defense and HP stats, it may not be worth investing anymore. Now, for those of you who are like, well, I want to invest into 4 stars, I think that's fine. I think if you're leveling and you want to invest in 4 stars, there's nothing wrong with doing it. Enjoy yourself. But most likely, if you're thinking end game, you're thinking long term, you're going to want to invest into those 5-star echoes. Last thing I'm going to mention is, where do you spend your stamina? The first thing I saw whenever I was exploring, because I was trying to do as much exploring as possible, was, where do I spend this? And what am I supposed to do with it? For those of you who don't know, this is basically a limited resource that you can spend a number of ways, but initially you're likely going to spend it on simulation training, probably up until your union level 10. And you're going to do this with your simulating and training instructor. You're going to either spend it on, I would say, one of two things: resonance potions, which help build characters. If you have a lot of characters you're going to want to build up, you're going to want to spend it here, or shell credits. This is going to be great. Another great option for you. Most likely, I would say 1 to 5, you're probably going to be doing resonance potions, and then 5 to 10, probably shell credits. Once you hit level 10, you're going to unlock the ability to face some of the bosses, the world bosses, I guess you could call them. You're going to have a few options here, but the most important on this, and I'm blocking it with my screen a little bit, is these tacit cores. For first clears, it's going to be very important that you clear them at least once, but each time you clear one of these, you're going to have a chance to get these tacit cores. And the reason why they are important is because as you're leveling up your resonators and you reach that ascension level 2, they're going to require these tacit cores. So you're going to want to be doing those regularly. So once you hit level 10 and you're able to spend them, I would highly recommend starting those world bosses, getting those first clears out. Now, I will say they cost about 60 materials, not to kill the boss, but to claim the loot. You're gonna have something else that's gated beyond that, and that is going to be tacit fields. Some people don't recommend those, simply because what you're able to access through those tacit fields aren't necessarily that great levels of echoes. I mean, like a level 4 echo isn't bad, but I would say they were still usable, but most likely just for their first clears, because it does add to your to getting those echoes and echo farming, like I was talking about earlier. So it does tie together a little bit, but mainly those world bosses for ascending your characters is going to be super important for you. So 3 things: get your Lootmapper so you can explore as much as possible, and once you do, start working on building your echo farming gallery as much as possible. That way you can get higher level echoes. And then lastly, where do you spend all that stamina? Spend it killing those world bosses once you hit union level 10, and build up those tacit cores to ascend your characters. So I hope these tips have helped you. If they have, please give the video a like, subscribe to the page for more Wuthering Waves content. I hope this was helpful for somebody out there, either new or a veteran player who's put in a lot of hours. But For those of you who want to catch the stream live, we do play AFK Journey as well as Wuthering Waves. I'd love to see it in stream. Or if you have any tips that you think are great for new players, I would love to hear it. But that's all I got for this one. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.